Let me ask a real question for real estate agents, not just in Dallas-Fort Worth, but everywhere right now. Are you guys doing the same thing that you're hearing from your buyer clients? Are you waiting and hoping for interest rates to fall before you start pushing your business forward? And are you actually blaming the slowdown in your business because of interest rates?
And what if instead of waiting for the market to change, we focused on becoming more valuable problem solvers for our clients in this market?
Because look, every market rewards real estate agents who adapt faster and not just the ones who wait for it.
And that's exactly why we created this show.
DFW, turn it up. This week in DFW Real Estate. The weekly podcast built for agents who actually get paid. Market moves, listing heat, closing streets. DFW agents. Let's eat.
All right, welcome to the very first episode of This Week in DFW Real Estate, the weekly podcast for Dallas-Fort Worth real estate agents. And we're going to break down what's happening in the market, what it means for your business, and the strategies that agents are using right now to stay ahead.
So if you want to stay competitive and build momentum and grow your business regardless of the market conditions, you're in the right place.
Now, we've done a little bit about Brian and I. We've done hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. And why we created this show, you know, you may have seen us before. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe this is the first time. Welcome. We are the owners of the DFW Realtors Facebook group, and we took that over in December. Mm-hmm. And what we wanted to do was to create a community and an environment and a space for agents to feel like they can collaborate, that they can share and they can network without feeling like, you know, it's everyone against everyone.
100%. Agents are hearing a lot of noise in the market right now, but not enough strategy. So our goal with the group, our goal with this show is to translate what's happening in the market into real actions that agents can take each week to stay competitive.
So one, if you're not part of our Realtor Facebook group, just search in Facebook, go to DFW Realtors, search in there. You'll see our black and gold logo in there. And just be a part of the community. Share, collaborate, what's winning, what's not working for you, ask questions, and support your fellow real estate agents.
100%. So let's dive in.
Yeah. At the beginning of the show, we talked about Brian, in what you're seeing right now, right? You coach quite a few real estate agents right now in the role that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And are you seeing where agents are almost like their buyer clients, all the objections that we're hearing right now is I'm going to wait for interest rates to go down. Interest rates are too high. And what I think is what is starting to happen is that in our minds, we're starting to hold back or say like, you're right. Interest rates are too high. Yeah. And I don't really feel like I want to go after more buyers because I'm tired of hearing that objection. And so you're deep down, you're hoping and praying like, oh man, I hope the Fed lowers rates. I hope that this new Fed chair coming in is going to do something.
Yeah. I think that whether or not we believe it, I think that you tend to believe things that you hear enough. And so where I think this stems from, my experience with a lot of agents lately is that they don't feel like they have a good enough response for their prospects saying, I'm waiting for the market to change. Interest rates are too high. I'm waiting for the Fed to lower rates, all those things, because housing has become unaffordable in DFW and we don't have a good response for some of these objections. We tend to just let that sink in and we almost start believing it ourselves, right? The reality is the market is what the market is. Interest rates are one of the few variables that has to do with the market conditions. But I agree. I think that right now, agents are struggling to have better conversations with their buyer and seller prospects. And we've heard the same objections so many times around rates that a lot of agents are starting to believe that the market is soft because of rates.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, interest rates are just one factor of this. You drive in all the other economic discrepancies, or just all the things that are going on with the world right now. And as we're recording this, I mean, crypto is crashing, and
It's going on sale.
yeah, everything's on sale. It's a great time to buy, and that should be the mindset of your buyer clients, for your buyer clients right now. And what I've found is that the majority of real estate agents, just as a business owner, is that they're not, and I hate to use the word plugging in because it often gets used against people, like, oh, you didn't plug in, so it's your fault. But I'd met a gentleman yesterday. He runs a very successful. He's in the electricity business.
Sure.
It's in the network marketing space, but he wasn't even trying to get me to go sell, get into his business. He was kind of telling me about why people aren't successful in his industry and business. And he said typically what he's found is when he first started it, he tried to do it his way. And he's like, for 3 or 4 years, I was just kind of, it was like running on a treadmill. He was in the same spot.
Yep.
And his mentor, the guy that attracted him in the business, told him, he's like, look, man, like, you're not plugging in. You're not going all in. And one of our friends have told us in the past that if you're 99% in, you're 100% out.
Yeah.
And his advice is the minute that he started plugging in and going to the trainings, he started to understand the model. He started to even understand language patterns and people's psychology of why they take action and make decisions. Is the minute it started to just click. And what I've found is that most agents right now, they love the idea of being a business owner. They wanted to get away from the 9 to 5, the corporate. They didn't want to have a boss. They love the idea of showing houses. Real estate is sexy. It's often, talked about and like, oh, got a new home, and people like to show it off and have housewarming parties, or, real estate investors are idolized at times. But what they're not doing is they're not going and understanding why people do or don't make decisions. And I would say that, number one, for you, Brian, you've done really well in the real estate space for a long time. You've been doing this for 12, 13, 14 years?
14 years.
14 years. In the beginning, you weren't a natural born salesperson, I wouldn't say.
Just natural born glutton for punishment.
Right. And you dove from day one. Did you dive into the training?
I definitely learned a lot of things the hard way in the beginning. It wasn't until I sought better training and mentorship and started to really focus on becoming better at this craft and learning about the space and the markets that I started to find success.
But out of that, I'm sure that you would agree, and what you've learned is that, number one, you can't force someone into making a decision.
No.
You can arm them with all the information, and you're super intelligent. Probably for most people, you would probably talk over their head, not on purpose, because you're very armed with a lot of research, and you have you think more logically than on the emotional side when it comes to buying, selling, or doing anything financially. And with that, you probably had to learn how to help show people and guide them to making the best decision for them.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of the things that I really want to explore on this show is how do we make sense of what's going on in the market, and how do we make it easily digestible? One of the biggest barriers to entry that I see for so many agents right now is this market is in a particular state and place and time that we've really never seen before. When you have the fastest rate increase in human history that does all sorts of things to a market, and then you throw a global pandemic on top of it, and 6 years later, you're going to have a market that looks something like nobody's ever seen before. What I'm finding is that agents are having a lot of trouble finding the right conversation to have with their buyer and seller prospects. And because they're finding those conversations more difficult, they're either simply not having them or they're not converting. So one of the things I really would love to do on this show and stop myself from going down big rabbit holes is how do we make common sense of a very complicated market? Because what I have found in my career is the easier I can explain something to a prospect, the easier a job I have of converting them. Now, understanding that, yes, people make decisions for all sorts of reasons, mostly emotional when it comes to real estate, helping them become less emotional about the market will help us convert more. Right now, the big emotional thing that everybody talks about is interest rates. Realistically, interest rates are just one component of the market. And if you were to ask me, I would tell you we don't need to wait for interest rates to go down. In fact, that might be really horrible for the market long term. But we've heard these things over and over and over to the point where even agents don't have a good response to a lot of those objections from prospects. I'm just waiting for rates to come down. I'm waiting for rates to come down. Drop rates 2 points and see what 2028 looks like. I'll tell you it will be hellacious, right? We actually don't need rates to come down, and we can get into why that is. But I really want to help us make common sense of a complex market so we can have better conversations with our database.
And the ultimate goal with this, again, as this is episode 1, is to highlight what this show will be all about, and to also give you, arm yourself with the right tools, the right strategies, maybe even, the data and talking points that you can go back and listen to and use it as a resource. And hopefully you come out to our realtor meetups that we have and the trainings that we'll be continue to host. But the number one job for us as real estate professionals is to start positioning ourselves as high value agents. And the agents who improve their value don't need to wait for better markets.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to grow regardless of the marketplace and what's happening. I mean, look around at whatever brokerage you're in, look around of just online, and sometimes we got to see what's real and what's not real. But there are plenty of success stories right now where agents are having their best years ever.
Oh yeah.
And some of the toughest real estate markets we've seen in a very long time.
There's some agents out there that are crushing it, and it actually makes perfect sense as to why. Whenever market share shrinks, if you use market share shrinking as a leading indicator, then the result of that is eventually there's going to be less competition in any market. So we went from 6.5 million transaction sides in 2021 or 22, I can't remember, but to like 4.3 nationwide last year, right? So that's like a 30-something% reduction in available market share, right? Through that process, you're also going to see a lot of people that either leave the business officially or silently, meaning they either leave the business officially and they don't renew their license, or they, say 2025 was 4.06. So almost that's a 45% or so decrease from peak to trough. That's a lot of market share that got taken off the table. Or you're going to have agents that leave the business silently. And that's mostly what we're seeing is agents that still have their license. They're just not really actively trying to grow their business the way they were in 2020 through 2022. So the agents that are picking up that available market share are the agents that are having better conversations, that are navigating this landscape in a much more educated and professional way. But for every deal out there that you may have lost in 2021 because I am an agent and I just got my license and I already have 5 family members that are trying to buy homes and all these referrals are coming in because it's the hottest market ever, professional agents are not losing those deals to an agent who just got their license anymore, right? Because that agent isn't there anymore. So there's a lot of agents that are really navigating this market really well because they're picking up market share that wasn't available to them in the hottest market that we've ever seen. So it makes perfect sense why some people are eating really well right now.
So what I want to ask everyone as you tune in and listen to this, as you participate and join the real estate Facebook group that we're a part of, is that message us, comment, share some stories of successes, maybe some challenges that you're facing. Because here's the goal. Every week, what our number one goal is we're going to be covering what's happening in the market. We're going to work on covering tactical business building strategies. And then there will be some times where we're interviewing top producing agents here locally in the marketplace, and then use real world case studies within our Dallas-Fort Worth market.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have recurring segments, and we haven't come up with good names for it, like maybe some market data intel, maybe the problem solver of the week, because one of our business coach mentors would always, and I've used this a lot on other shows and podcasts, is look, money changes hands when problems are solved. Mm-hmm. And right now, the good news is in the marketplace, there's a lot of problems that are out there that need to be solved by high valued real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And, Brian, you mentioned something that people will hear me like, oh, how do I have better conversations? Yeah, that makes sense. Just become more valuable.
Become more valuable.
Well, how do I do that?
Become more educated. And this is where I'm going to have to be disciplined on this show, because I can hijack it sometimes, the old one. But I really want to create an environment in this podcast where we're helping educate agents. Imagine just a situation where you're talking about your favorite passion, your favorite hobby. Does it take long for you to explain somebody about your favorite thing in the world? Not really, probably because you're passionate about it and because you know a lot about it organically, right? We should treat our profession the exact same way. The more educated we are on the economics that surround the market, the easier it is to have conversations with buyer and seller prospects. A great example right now is helping have better conversations with those buyer prospects that are waiting for interest rates to come down. If the conversation is, I have buyer prospects out there and they're waiting for interest rates to come down, and that's why they haven't bought a home yet, they're missing a massive opportunity. And guess what? You're not waiting for interest rates to come down. One, they're very unlikely to come down any further. And if they did, there would only be a small window in time before that had a negative impact on the market again that made homes out of reach for a lot of people. And so we want to break that type of stuff down and help you have better conversations because you're more equipped. I heard this a long time ago and it always stuck with me. A great real estate agent is not just a fiduciary. They are the economic advisor of choice for their clients. And we want to help you become the economic advisor of choice by equipping you with the ability to speak in plain English about a very complicated market and help your people make best decisions for them.
One of the things that, by the way, we have all the tools at our fingertips now.
Oh, yeah.
We've got ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini, we have Grok. And then what I would say, and then you need a presentation, you have Google's Notebook LM.
Yeah.
What I would say is learn those, let that become your friend and become AI enhanced so that you don't become AI replaced. And ultimately start studying, using it as a study tool to improve your knowledge of what's happening and allow it to be your learning within your learning style. Yeah. So one of the conversations we keep hearing about is interest rates. And then you can go download scripts. The problem is if you don't understand about interest rates or the impact it has if it goes lower or if it goes higher, or with the new Fed chair that is potentially going to, there will be a new Fed chair in May,
regardless. Yeah.
And how that impacts a lot of people believe that with this new with the Trump administration nominating a new Fed chair, that the goal is to get interest rates lower pretty quickly. Well, if you ask your AI, your assistant, the right questions. Did you know, first off, since 1972 or 8, there have been 5 Fed chair people. Now, I asked that, I was like, all right, so we've had 5 Fed chair people since 1970 in the 1970s. Over the next 6 to 12 months, what happened to interest rates?
When the new chair came?
Fed chair,
okay.
After within 6 to 12 months after the new Fed chair took over, interest rates 1 out of 5 times went up.
Okay.
The other 4 times, they stayed completely flat. It went up or down by 0.2%.
Yeah.
So a new Fed chairperson, typically, if we look at historically, is not going to have an immediate positive or negative impact on interest rates.
Right.
So if you're waiting, or if you have buyers that are waiting thinking that this is what it's going to be, because that's all they're hearing in the media, well, we need to educate them on that. And then there's always a cost of waiting. The longer that you wait, it costs them a certain amount of money of negotiating power. Right now, we're seeing on average that sellers and on the pre-owned market, sellers are coming off their asking price around 7%.
Yeah.
So that is
It's an important number to remember, by the way.
that is real negotiation power that you can use when talking to your buyer clients to let them know that if interest rates is that the only factor that's holding you up, Brian?
Right.
If that's what you're telling me. If everything else if interest rates are lower and everything else is like kind, you're telling me you would buy a house. Great. Can I show you how we can get you a lower interest rate?
Yeah.
We have clients right now getting purchasing homes with interest rates in the high 4s, low 5s, and we're utilizing the knowledge and with the data that we have access to know that the average seller is coming off 7% off their asking price, and then we're using that to go buy down or have our lender partners go buy down the buyer's interest rates right then and there.
This is like a super important point to make. So this is where we can start to have actionable advice for agents out there. Can you pull up the Netris screen that we had a little bit ago? We're just looking at the Netris trends. So I want to kind of look at a couple things here. The first thing to understand as an agent is interest rates are only one of 3 variables that affect affordability. And actually, it's the most incendiary variable because it's the only inorganic variable, meaning we as a society can control interest rates. The Fed chair, the board can agree we're going to lower interest rates. That's the only thing that we can just vote on, or they can vote on, and decide to lower. The other 2 variables are organic. They are wages, how much money people make, and asset prices, the organic cost of homes in any given market. Those are organic variables, meaning when the economy expands, new companies are made. That means that more jobs are created, which means that those jobs will pay more because you have more openings for a smaller pool of talent. When the economy contracts, then there are more people looking for jobs and they will take a lower wage, so wages go down. So wages are affected organically by economic expansion and contraction. Same with housing prices. Supply and demand. Whenever people go buy a whole lot of houses, they tend to cost more. When people go a while without buying houses, they tend to cost less, right? So wages, asset prices, and then interest rates. The amount of money I make, the amount of money I have to spend, and the amount of interest that I have to pay on the money that I'm borrowing to buy this house. When you lower interest rates the way that we lowered them during the pandemic, you tip the balance of the scales in what was otherwise a relatively balanced market. All of a sudden, that one variable, the amount of money that I have to pay to borrow this money, goes way down, which means that I can afford more house technically for that moment in time. And so what happened between 2020 and 2022 to prices? Well, they went way up because wages didn't really go up, but the money that people had to pay in interest went down, so they felt like they could afford more house, which means more people bought more houses, and then prices went up. Now, the dangerous part about that is it takes prices a long time to come down. Naturally, people will go, I bought this house for this much money. I don't want to sell for this much money. So what you will see is people will stay in their houses much longer. Prices will remain higher for longer. And ultimately, you'll see a market where you go from 6.5 million homes sold down to 4.06 million homes sold because people feel trapped in the houses that they bought. That's an important thing to remember because as agents, we have been inundated over the last few years of if rates just come down, if rates just come down, if rates just come down. We don't want rates to keep coming down to be the thing that thaws out the market because then you ride this roller coaster over and over and over of rates come down, prices go up, the market freezes. Rates come down, prices go up, the market freezes. What you want is the market to naturally gravitate back towards a balanced state where people make a certain amount of money, interest rates stay pretty consistent for a long period of time, and prices tend to gravitate to whatever range they need to gravitate to in order for people to afford houses based on their wages. Right now, where we are at with interest rates are close to their historical norms again, which is a good thing. So I want people to understand this when you're talking to your buyers. We don't want rates to keep coming down. It'll throw us back into a vicious cycle. And I don't think they are going to come down very much. Quite frankly, if you were to make the argument to me that rates are going to keep coming down, the burden of proof would be on you to explain to me why rates should keep coming down past the historical averages that they're at right now. The last reason they came down was because of a global pandemic, right? And then we got used to that cheap money for a while, and we keep thinking that rates will keep coming back down. If you look, though, at the median sales price across DFW, we're only looking at residential sales here on a 10-year chart. What we are seeing is that sales prices have come down. Sales prices have come down from, can you pull up that 2022 peak, mid-2022? Sales prices in May of 2022 across all of the North Texas MLS peaked at $393,400 for resale homes. This does not take into its consideration new construction, correct? So where are we at now? 345 flat. Okay, so 345,000 flat. So that's about a $40,000 decrease in median sales price across our MLS since the COVID peak, basically in 2022. That's a very good sign that we're getting back to a balanced market. I know we have this taboo as real estate agents. I don't know why it is, but we seem to feel the pressure to like always be telling people that homes are going to go up in value forever. Just history would tell you they're not. There's going to be cycles. And what I see is that we're starting to get closer to the bottom of the cycle, which is a good thing, by the way. And there's some other statistics we could talk about. But when we're talking to our buyers, Nick just made a very good point. If our buyers are saying they're waiting for rates to come down, we're having the wrong conversation. Right now, homes have come down in price to meet buyer demand, meaning buyers only have so much money they make. Prices need to come down for us to be able to purchase homes again at anywhere near the clip we were a few years ago. And interest rates will only ever have a very temporary effect on that. Now, if I'm in a situation where I'm a buyer, what do I want more? Do I want to try to lock in a 2.5% interest rate, but I'm competing against 50 other buyers for the same property and I have to come way out of pocket? Do we remember what people had to do in 2022 to lock in these low interest rates? Does anybody remember this? I just want agents to understand this, so I'll try to not go down a rabbit hole, but explain it in plain English. So in 2022, if I was buying a home, let's just say that was listed at $500,000, and I locked in a 3% interest rate, but I had to come out of pocket an extra $75,000 to get the home, all I did was pay a higher interest rate. Because that $75,000 that I came out of pocket, well, homes have come down in price since then. So my home isn't worth what I paid for it back then, and I paid all this extra money out of pocket just to lock in my 3% interest rate. I basically just prepaid interest.
Yeah, you front-loaded it.
I just front-loaded the interest. I paid interest that I would have paid. I would have basically ended up paying the same amount of money if I bought it for $500 at a 5.5% interest rate, and I didn't come out of pocket that extra $75.
Let's look at it this way, because again, the majority of agents, and we all fall in this trap, is one, we get overwhelmed. We probably get overwhelmed with just looking at data and how to interpret it and how to use it. And, we'll probably go, we'll glaze over. And once we start understanding which numbers to look at, for example, not all news is bad news. And right now, all we're hearing is not like everything going on in the world. We're hearing a lot of negative news. And what will end up happening with our brain cycle is we'll start to think the sky is falling. And when we look at nationally, real estate as a whole, and we look at mortgage applications, so every week I get a weekly trends update of what's going on. And this is the mortgage application index. Mm-hmm. And if we look at mortgage applications currently, compared to this time last year, mortgage applications right now are up 19%.
Yeah.
So almost 20%. So what does that mean? And right, this is the conversation that I have with agents and my team members, is that if mortgage applications are up 19%, what does that mean over the next 30, 60, 90 days for your real estate market? Mm-hmm. It means that there are buyers out there that are in the process of applying to get a home loan.
Yeah.
And that they are wanting to then go do what? Buy a house.
I would hope so, right?
Right?
Yeah.
There are also people in this interest rate market needing to do a refinance. Mm-hmm. refinances are starting to increase. That is because in 2022 and 2023, people were buying homes at 7.5% and 8%. And ultimately what they're doing is that, the majority of Americans are living above their means. And so what they're doing is trying to reduce their debt load. And so it's an opportunity for us as real estate professionals to go back and look at one of two things. Number one, applications are up 19%. So that theory of people saying, hey, Brian, I'm going to wait until mortgage rates are lower or at 5% or 4%, that they just keep hearing. I keep hearing a 4% in the media for whatever reason. And that's the administration saying we want to lower, we want to lower, we want to lower. And that's great. That's what they say they want it to happen. But the chances of that are very, very slim. And so we go look at it and say, if mortgage applications are up 19%, that means over the next 30 to 60 to 90 days, probably even 120 days out, we will see that buyer demand pick up. We'll start to see your listings that have been sitting a little bit longer, means that they will start getting more showings. Mm-hmm. That means that new listings that are coming on the market could potentially sell faster if you price it appropriately and have the right expectation talks. And ultimately, this is a great time if you've been in this business for a while to go and reach out to your database of buyers that you helped sell them a property in 22 and 23 and reconnect them with your vendor partners and saying, hey, Brian, right now actually might be a good time to consider refinancing. I used the term back then, date the rate, marry the house.
Man, I wish we were doing this podcast back then.
Right?
I hope you guys weren't saying that.
We didn't. I don't think we said that at all.
We didn't say that.
But
stuff that rhymes or sounds quippy is usually wrong.
It also makes us seem very unprofessional.
Yeah, it's like a jingle. It's so silly.
And so, but look, if you did do that, that's okay. Go back and reach out to those clients and then connect them with your vendor partners, right? We're starting to see loan officers' businesses picking up. We're starting to see that they're busier with refinance applications coming in. Get with your title partners and see they're connecting. Your title sales rep is connecting with agents every single day.
Yep.
They get to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. And more often than not, they're hearing the bad and the ugly. And so they're going to tell you, say, hey, Brian, this is what you shouldn't be doing, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, so just double tap on that for a second. So mortgage applications are up almost 20% right now. Ask the simple question, why are mortgage applications up almost 20%? Well, we just looked at a chart off of Netris that showed sales prices coming down for an extended period of time. This goes back to the conversation we were having, interest rates, wages, and asset prices. When asset prices pull back to a certain level, then buyer demand is going to pick back up because now things are more affordable. Temporarily adjusting interest rates is usually not a good thing long term. So a great conversation to be having with our prospects or anybody in our world that says they're waiting for rates. We need to get away from the rate conversation, right? So I'm waiting for rates to come down before I buy. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is that we want our monthly payment to be cheaper. Right now, it's a little bit unaffordable with the way that interest rates are. Let me ask you, if I was able to get you the same home that you would have bought 3 years ago for 10% less, and I could get the seller to actually pay for a temporary interest rate buy down, do you think that would get your monthly payment to a place where it would be more affordable for you to purchase today?
Absolutely.
100%. So what we're seeing in the market right now is that median sales prices steadily decreased from the peak in 2022. Listings in MLS, resale listings in the North Texas MLS are down about $40,000 over the last few years. That means that prices are coming down, but they haven't come down far enough yet for a lot of buyers to flood the market and drive them back up. So we're still able to get concessions. So that dream home of yours right now, I can probably get it cheaper than I could have gotten it for you 3 years ago, and I may even be able to get the seller to contribute to a temporary 2-1, what we call a 2-1 buy down, where they will actually buy your interest rate down for a couple of years. So we may be able to kill two birds with one stone here. I'm going to set you up on an MLS search. Let's go see houses on Saturday, whatever. Let's just get away from the I'm waiting for rates to come down, and that's how we do it. We got to have a basic understanding of how the market works so that we can have better conversations with our buyers. That's just a little role play that was silly, but you understand what I'm saying. We can't let rates be the determining factor. we've got a lot of opportunity in this market right now.
And then going back to looking at data, and again, at every show we'll break this down even further with and more small off one-off tactical advices that you can go and implement. What we're seeing just nationwide right now, and I know right now historically in DFW we're having more inventory that we've ever had.
Yeah.
If we go back and look at our inventory for pre-owned, if you go to month supply of inventory, Jesse, the homes for sale is actually down. The number of homes for sale is down to about 30,000, almost 30,500 homes. But in our supply of inventory, we're sitting at 4.2 months. We saw that as a drastic drop off at the peak of we had 5.9 months. So in summer of last year, we were headed in a really, really bad direction.
So what does that tell us? This is a really good conversation to have. So if everybody that's a DFW real estate agent has access to the exact same data that we're looking at right here, we saw inventory steadily climb from mid 2022 until now. It climbed for almost four straight years. We had massive inventory climbs like we have not seen in a very long time. Now, in January of 2026, now we're actually seeing a relatively substantial drop-off of inventory in the resale market. This does not take into account new construction homes. So what does it mean when we see median sales price coming down, and now we're also seeing months of inventory start to drop again? That means buyers are coming back into the market and buying these homes. And so if we have buyer prospects that are saying, hey, I'm waiting for rates to drop, we as agents need to be educated enough to say, hey, we're already going to start, we're already late to the game. Prices have come down and buyers are coming back into the market. Here's what great agents are doing for their buyers right now. They're helping them negotiate a lower sales price and potentially a buy down. That's why buyers are coming back into the marketplace. Be one of those agents instead of getting beat by one of those agents. So if you have people in your world that keep saying, I'm waiting for rates to come down, I'm waiting for rates to come down, the success or failure of your business is contingent on your ability to have some of these basic conversations. And we don't need to make it more complicated than prices have come down for 3 straight years. Now supply is coming down. That means buyers are buying. Let's get you a rate buy down. Let's negotiate you a great deal. It's a wonderful time to be a real estate buyer right now. You've got more levers to pull than you've had to pull in a long time.
Well, and we're seeing this, by the way, nationally as well. Our national trend numbers are looking like this. New listings this year, today, again, as of February 5th, compared to this time last year, we're actually down 5% new listings. So we have less listings that have hit the market.
Yeah. We
have seen that inventory overall is up, at the same time this year versus last year, up 9.6%. But what we're seeing is it's not expanding as quickly.
No.
So again, just like what you said, to reiterate it, and so for people can digest this a little bit more, is that eventually there's a bottoming out where sellers is saying enough is enough, and then buyers are going to say, all right, this is the right price. I'm okay with rates. I'm okay with this. And then you understand as a very high valued agent that you are, because you listen to this show, you're part of the real estate group, and you're going in and saying, hey, we also know that on average sellers are coming off 7% off their asking price versus their sales price. So you still have some room to negotiate in there for X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And I'll give you a perfect example with this. We have a seller who is by the time that this is released, that her home should be closed, that she was ecstatic to get an offer within the first 14 days, because we set her up saying, hey, this could be 45 to 60 days. That offer came in at full price, except for there was $14,800 in closing costs. Still was within the range of what the seller wanted. This buyer is getting a down payment assistance program plus the $14,800. They're coming out of pocket no money, getting about a 6.25% interest rate, and they didn't come out of pocket any money. They're utilizing DPA. This is their first home. Super ecstatic and excited. And there was a great agent on the other side of this, the buyer's agent, that understood how to walk the process and keep those buyers in line. And And then I'll give you for the next show, I'll give you a horror story of dealing with really, really bad loan officers.
Well, what's so funny is that, like, this is why some agents are really succeeding in this market, is because what you just described was like a basic deal in 2018.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The market is just normalizing. We're getting to a point where prices have come down to match wages, at least enough that people are starting to transact again. And we're negotiating deals the same way we used to. A full price offer with some closing costs in 2 weeks, and this agent or this buyer is gonna get DPA, and they're probably gonna buy down their rate or whatever. Since they're getting DPA, their initial rate's probably gonna be a little higher. That was like a normal deal before COVID, and so the agents that are really succeeding right now are able to articulate that and have those conversations. There's one more a chart that you just had pulled up before. We'll make this kind of easy in plain English too. This is a great conversation to be having with your buyers around rates and wages and prices. Understand, guys, don't be late to the game. People are starting to transact again. When you see the supply come down and then the buyer activity go up in the form of new mortgage applications, you know that people are starting to transact again. But for our people out there that are waiting for rates to come down or waiting for the market to change or waiting for the market to hit bottom or something, there are some really easy indicators that you can look at that can help you predict, okay, are we starting to get back to a balanced market? And are my buyer is going to miss an opportunity if they don't take action? If you were to just look at median sales price in the North Texas MLS and just draw a line from 2016 until now, a 10-year line, and you just looked at the the median sales price of resale homes for the last 10 years and draw a line, a straight line that maps what that looks like, you would see a line that goes way up in 2020 and then comes back down to meet that line right now, meaning we're back to where we would have been price-wise if COVID never happened. If you just take a straight line of appreciation from 2016 till now, it would have got out of whack during COVID, and then prices would have come back down to re-meet this line, and it has been met. So we're back pricing-wise to where we would have been if that never happened.
Yep. It just needed some time, just like the COVID stimulus checks. It just needed some time to clear the market and exit out. Brian, let me, as people are listening to this and we get towards the end of the show, give a little background of who you are.
Oh, this is fun. We haven't done this in a long time. We've done so many shows, and we probably have some new listeners. So this is awesome to meet new people and for you to meet us. So my name is Brian Force. I've been in real estate for 14 years now, and I've been really, really blessed with this gentleman to my right and this gentleman across from me to be on a whole lot of different ventures together. Some that have been massively a blessing and successful, some that we're still on together and still growing. I ran one of the largest teams in Keller Williams for a very, very long time. I am currently the executive director of productivity for United Real Estate. I run all of our coaching and mentorship programs at United. I'm a co-owner of some fantastic joint ventures with Mr. Nick Good here, and we've done, between all of our podcasts, a little over 300 of these things before, and we're really looking forward to keeping this going. So I'm sure we'll talk way more about our backgrounds every single episode, but that's a little soundbite on me.
And I'll tell you, like, my name's Nick Good, by the way, if you didn't know who I was. And I've been doing this for 20 years licensed, 21 or 22 years in the business as a whole. This is really all I've known.
Yeah.
And I'm the owner and operator of the Good Home Team, powered by Place at eXp Realty. And we have an amazing group of agent partners that I love, and they go out and just execute and they're just high valued agents. And we sell a little over 230, 250 properties a year and continue to grow, and excited that to hit our next goal markers within that organization. And ultimately, one of our other businesses is Homeward Property Management. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing right now in this marketplace is accidental landlords happening. Tons of accidental landlords, and those are sellers who, for whatever reason, couldn't sell their home and they needed to move, or they just needed to get out of it for financial reasons, and they became investors, landlords. And What they really need is a great management team to oversee their assets and keep it in great shape that like they would if they were still living there. And so that is one of our companies. I would go to homewarddfw.com. And some of the other things that our goals are with this show is it's really simple. It's to make agents one of the most valuable resources here in DFW.
Yeah.
Right. That is our number one goal. That's the number one goal for this show, is to become a valuable resource to our agents locally, to give back to this community. We've been blessed, and we've had some massive wins and we've had some massive failures in this business.
Yeah, I mean, this is not to be big-headed or anything, but I do think a lot of people run these types of shows and podcasts because it is a branding thing, and it's certainly a branding thing in some way for us. But I think we have an opportunity to bring a lot of real value to our people. And we've been really blessed in our businesses. And we know that if we continue to bring value, we'll continue to be blessed. I think Nick and I are uniquely qualified because between the two of us, I think we've closed over 5,000 homes in our careers. It's got to be at this point. And so we've been very blessed to be on the front lines of just about everything this business can throw at you. And I think that we have a lot to offer as far as helping agents grow the kinds of businesses that they want to grow. I learned a long time ago from a mentor that stuck with me. Don't listen to somebody who hasn't built a business like you want to build. I think that for most agents out there, Nick and I have been very fortunate to build the kind of businesses that agents do want to build. We understand what it takes, but we also understand the kind of education you need on this market and this industry to stay competitive, and that's what we hope to help agents do every week.
Wanted to even stay in business.
Yeah.
Glenn Sanford, the founder of EXP, I had him talk to my team in a New Year's kickoff a couple of years ago. I think it was January 2022. And he said something. He said, the goal this year, as long as you stay in business, as long as you make just enough money to make it in this industry to where you don't feel that you need to leave or that you need to find another job, he's like, that's the win.
Yeah.
It's not celebrating, hey, I just hit a new PR. I've sold more houses. I made
Yep.
You can't always have your best year ever, every single year.
Yep.
And so again, the number one goal is simple, that we want to make this show a very valuable resource to you. We want to make sure that we're always inviting you to our events. We have an event at the end of the month. It's the last Thursday. We do it the last Thursday of every single month. It will send out, you can go to our Facebook group, DFW Realtors. We will have a website up very soon so you can see our events and classes that we will be doing and hosting. And ultimately, we want to also support our sponsors that we will have on the show and our vendor partners who Brian and I may or may not have a partnership with. Mm-hmm. And so we will be highlighting that. And then we also want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your wins, your success, maybe even some of your failures. Mm-hmm. Like there's times, look, I love watching shows of not just wins, but I like the failures that people have had and what they've learned from it. Yeah. Because more often than not, you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins.
100%. So utilize the Facebook group as a way. Again, if you are not a part of DFW Realtors Facebook group, just search DFW Realtors on Facebook. Find the group. We'd love to have you join. Give us feedback in the group on what you'd like to hear on the show, what you'd like us to discuss, any insights that you'd like us to share from our experience. And obviously, we're always looking for feedback and to learn from you guys as well. We've been very blessed to get pretty far in this industry over the years, and a lot of it's because we've learned a lot from other people. So we get as much as we give from doing these things.
That's a wrap on the first show. I was nervous.
Really?
I haven't been nervous on a show in a long time.
And we're recording instead of doing it live. So I feel like you think so much more about what you're saying when you're recording. When we're live, there's no going back. You just let it fly.
Absolutely. So if you found this valuable, just like it, share it, make sure in the group, tag an agent in it, invite agents to the group. And look, we'll see you on the next show.
Later.
DFW, turn it up.